want to divide it by 2, and what does it give you? So if you divide b by 2, right, that is 1 over 2, because the value of b is 1. So you have half. Then I want you to take it inside this bracket as it is. Okay. Now, when you're taking it into the bracket, you have to take in consideration the sign here. As you can see, there's a plus here. Okay. So in your bracket, you write x. Since x squared, you're gonna write x in your bracket plus half. You close the bracket squared. The reason why you put this in the bracket is because, okay, I'll show you. Let me just show you now. That is because in full it looks something like this: x squared plus x plus, okay, you add b over 2 squared minus b over 2 squared. Okay, since we took 12 to the other side, equal to 12 equals to 12. You add something, minus something every time. So now look at this. These two, right? You only take this and that, because all we need to have a quadratic equation are 3 terms. So you only take these first 3 terms. You don't take this one. The first 3 terms, and always it has to be plus. It doesn't have to be minus. Minus comes after the plus. You add first, then you take this whole thing and make it into a quadratic equation and solve it. And then once you do that, for example here, right, you don't concern yourself with this, don't bother yourself, just look at this number and that variable there. Then all you do, you just put them in the bracket without the 2 plus. Remember, this plus here, it is important. Plus this plus this plus, look at that one, plus b over 2, right, squared. You take it as it is, b over 2 equals the bracket squared. You're done. Okay, in b over 2, remember we found it to be half here. Then it's minus, right, minus b over 2 squared here is equal to 12. Then the next step is you're gonna take this to the other side, because this is a whole number, right? It is a whole number. It's half. Remember, it's half. So this is half squared. So you're gonna take it to the other side. Then it's gonna be 12 plus b over 2 squared. Like I did here, you see. I did this the first way. This over here was minus. When I took it there, it's half squared, right? Then you add both of them together. Then you get 49 over 4. So x plus 1 over 2 squared is equal to 49 over 4. And then what do? You square both sides. Because there's a 2 here, you square both sides, and you'll be left with x plus half is equal to plus or minus square root 49 over 4. You square root both sides, then you'll be left with x plus half is equals to plus or minus square root 49 over 4. Therefore, x is equal to plus 49 over 4 minus half, which is equal to 3, or x is equal to minus 49 over 4 minus half, which is equal to negative 4. So you see, plus or minus, plus or minus. When you take this to the other side, it's minus half. So this one doesn't have, you don't have to change it, because you just took it to the other side. You didn't square this one. You squared the whole thing. You squared the whole thing, and you're left with this. You take it to the other side. It's minus 1 over 2. So the one that changes sign, plus or minus, like here, as you can see, it's plus or minus this one, not this one. This one just stays there, stays with its sign. So all you do is take this to the other side. X is equal to plus square root 49 over 4 minus half, which is equal to 3, or x is equal to minus square root 49 over 4 minus a half, which is equal to negative 4. Now, let's move on to expressions. And then for expressions, it's quite simple. For expressions, you need to have 1 in front of your x squared every time. Like so. It must be x squared. If there's a 2 before the x squared, like this, 2x squared or 3x squared or 9x squared, you have to get rid of that. You have to divide it by 9 in order to give you squared. Divide the whole thing by 9 to give you a squared. But we'll get there. We'll get there later. Let's do this one. X squared minus 8x plus 8. Like I said, divide this. All you have to do to make your life easy, just divide this. This is the b, right? Divide this by 2. What does it give you? 4, right? Listen. If you do it in form, okay. If I say divide this, it's b over 2. Remember I said it's plus. You add it. Squared. The one that you add first is the one that goes into the bracket. Then the one that you minus, okay, is the one that goes with this extra value. Okay. In the expression, we won't take it to the other side. But remember, previously here, we took 12 to the other side. And what went with 12, that extra value, that minus b over 2 squared, which is 1/2 squared, right? Minus half squared when that side became positive. Now listen. So all you want to do here, you just divide this by 2 only. Then you put it into your bracket. Remember I said you must look at the sign. Here it's minus, right? So your answer is going to be x minus. Since you divided this by 2, it becomes 4. And that's 4 here. Close brackets, squared. Why did I say squared? Because when we're doing it in form, it's plus b over 2 squared, right? They both have squares. This one has a square, x has a square. They can go into the bracket. Okay. So you will continue. Plus 3 minus 8 over 2 squared. Remember, you add, you subtract. You add plus b over 2 squared, you subtract b over 2 squared. So minus 8 over 2 squared, which gives you x minus 4 squared minus 13. Let's move on. We're gonna move on to much more advanced problems. Okay, so here I have equations advanced, or equation, because I'm just gonna do one. So remember what I talked about, that you want to have only 1 here in front of your x. Here's the scenario right here. Remember what I said, you do with equations, you have to take this number that is by itself, not variable, to the other side. You'll be left with 2x squared minus 3x is equal to 4. But we don't want that 2. We only want x squared. It must be by itself. It must be 1 in there. We don't want it to have 2, 5, whatever. So you divide by 2 both sides. Then you'll be left with x squared minus 3 over 2, because 3 over 2 divided by 2, that says 3 over 2. Don't turn it into a decimal. 3 over 2. So it's x squared minus 3 over 2x is equal to 2, because you divide by 2 both sides. Now, this one, you just do the same thing I told you. You divide this number by 2. Don't make a mistake, guys. You divide this number by 2. So that's 3 over 2 divided by 2. Okay. On your calculator, make sure you make no mistake. Rather, you do it like this on your calculator. 3 over 2 divided by 2. So this would give you 3 over 4. Okay. This would give you 3 over 4. 3 over 2 divided by 2 gives you 3 over 4. Then you put it into your bracket. Remember, you must look at what the sign there is. So it's x, right? Minus, you divide this by 2. The value with an x divided by 2. Just remember this. Make sure you remember what I'm saying here, because this thing is gonna save you. For real. Now listen. I said you divide by 2, right? Which gives you 3 over 4. Then close bracket, square. Right. Now I said that you add and subtract, right? This side. So if you add and subtract, remember we said the one that we add is the one that goes in there. The b over 2 squared that we add is the one that goes into the bracket. But we skip this step to make life easy. Then the one that we minus is the one that goes with the whole number or here. So since we took 2 to the other side, we're gonna take this to the other side too, and then it becomes the positive, which is 2 plus 3 over 4 squared. Okay, so I went ahead and just put the simplified version. But if you want to put it in full, then it would be 3 over 2, right? Because that's b. This is b. Right here, that's b over 2 squared. Okay. This is b right here. This is b, and that is 2. Okay. And then let's move on. So you add these together. It gives you square root 41 over 16. You square both sides, then you'll be left with x minus 3 over 4 plus or minus square root 41 over 16. Then you take this number to the other side. Okay, this gives you, here's another way of doing it, guys. Here's a simple way of doing it. So when you take this to the other side, that's 3 over 4 plus or minus square root 41 over 4. Why am I saying square root 4? Square root 41 over 4 instead of the whole thing. Well, as you can see here, this is this square root sign, right? It is a square root for both of these numbers here. So look at this. Square root of 41 is just square root of 41, right? Then square root of 16 on your calculator is 4. This is why 4 doesn't have a square root in it, because it's already square rooted. Okay, so that's why it's 4 there. Now remember what we do with fractions. We have the same denominators, so we can add these on top, and they will share the same denominator. So x is equal to 3 plus or minus square root 41 over 4. Okay, which is the same as 2.35 or negative 0.85 in decimal form. Now let's move on to expressions. Now, expressions with this extra number in front of it. Here's how we do it. Remember, we said we don't want this, we only want to have x squared, so we have to get rid of that. What you do is you take this outside the bracket, that extra number outside the bracket. So when you take it outside the bracket, right, we're saying that we're gonna times. Okay, when you take it outside, when you take it outside, right, of the bracket, okay, when you take it away from x squared, that's the same as dividing. So just pretend. Okay, let me just say, fine. Divide by 3 on all of these. Okay, but don't necessarily divide. Just divide on your calculator or in your mind. Then you put this number on the outside. Since this is 3, you put this on the outside, big bracket. Then that's x squared there. Then 6 divided by 3, that's 2 minus 2x. 12 divided by 3, that's minus 4. So that it can be true that if we multiply this back, it gives you this. That's why we do this. You divide 2, but don't put your line there and divide there. No. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't even make that mistake. Okay, make the mistake. Don't make the mistake. Now listen. We have this, right? Now we do our thing in this bracket. We do our thing, what we've been doing before. So remember, you divide this by 2, you put it in there. So 2 divided by 2, what is it? It's 1. Remember, look at the sign. What is the sign there? Minus. So that's x minus. The reason why I'm taking x, guys, the whole time, the reason why I'm taking x, I want us to be together here. It's because it's x squared, and this one too would be 1 squared, but I skipped a step. Remember, I said b over 2, right, squared, and I skipped a step here. Okay, for you guys. So in reality, it's like this: 2 over 2 squared, right? So all I did is solve what's in here, and then we left 1 squared. That's why it goes into the bracket, because it also has a squared like x, but we're doing it the faster way here. We don't want to complicate our life. So it's x minus 1 squared minus 4. Remember, you add ab over 2 squared, you subtract ab over 2 squared. Since here it's an expression, it won't go to the other side, obviously. It's gonna go with this number there that's outside the bracket. So it's minus 4 minus 2 over 2 squared. And you solve that, it gives you minus 5, like here. It gives you minus 5, like so in the next step here. So here we'll be left with 3, big bracket, small bracket, x minus 1 closed, squared minus 5. Now what you want to do when you reach this step, when you simplified everything in this step, is multiply this here, multiply this here, multiply this there. Then when you multiply this there, you're gonna have 3 times that bracket, x minus 1 squared. Don't multiply it into the bracket, just put it in front of the bracket. Okay, and if there was a negative in front of the bracket, you're gonna have, in fact there won't even be a negative. Okay, sometimes there will be a negative, then it will be negative 3, right? It turns into negative 3, whatever, that doesn't really matter. I'm sure you guys know that. So here we're multiplying with an imaginary 1, then it becomes 3 bracket x minus 1 squared. You multiply this, that's 3 times 5, negative 5 to be exact, which is 3 times 5, which is 15, negative 15, and if you answer, then you're done. Okay, so I have a question for you guys. Okay, so for this equation showing up on the screen right now, does it have a minimum value or a maximum value? Then for this one, does it have a minimum value or a maximum value? Let me know in the comment section, for this is important to know. I will explain in the next video. I will explain why in the next video. Just let me know which one has a minimum value, which one has a maximum value. And that's it for this video. I'll see you guys